Hi, I'm Aidan McCormack. I'm here at HPE Discover, and with me I have Martin Houghton, Managing Partner, Analytics. Martin,
Hello.
analytics, isn't this just data warehousing rehashed?
If you think about what data warehousing did for business in terms of collecting transaction data primarily from ERPs and CRMs and reorganizing that so it could be reported and turned into charts and various other kind of MI things could be sent around the business, and you compare that to what we're now doing with all forms of digital content from all different kinds of place, so from sensors, machine data, video, voice, social sentiment from tweets and things out on the internet. It's very, very different. I think the analogy is drawn because we're doing things with data. So data warehousing was doing things with data. Big data's doing things with data. But I think the paradigm shift's quite significant actually, both in terms of the approaches we take, the technologies we use, and also the amount of value we can generate by being more inquisitive actually, and being focused on insights rather than reporting on transaction data from our processing systems.
And where in particular are you seeing analytics being put to good use?
I think the early side of analytics, or this new style of analytics, really came from the social space. So we saw a lot of, I think probably about a year ago, maybe slightly longer, we saw a lot of focus on social. We're now seeing that move into the more industrial area of things, again around sensors and machines and things like that. And now it's about the convergence of all of that. So if you think about the kind of what businesses do and why insight is so important in terms of driving strategy, product innovation, understanding your customers, optimizing your large physical assets, that pretty much covers most industries. So we're seeing a lot of interest pretty much from everywhere. On the floor over here, you've seen a connected car over here. That's around automotive. A bit further along, we've got healthcare solutions that are using big data to stitch together multiple points of information that were previously very hard to get, or in some cases were just on paper. So we're scanning that, we're reading the data, turning it into insight. So it's across all industries actually. I think some industries are slightly ahead, and they tend to be the ones that have a more inquisitive culture. And they're more willing to invest in something that's maybe feels a little more risky than just a pure data warehouse. So it's everywhere, but we are seeing some leaders, and those are the kind of clients that that we're working with to really push the envelope.
What 5 actions would you take or advise an organisation to take to become truly, let's say, data-driven or insight-driven?
I don't think these are particularly in order of priority, but they're all really important. The top 3 for certain would be, don't approach this by waiting for the business to ask for requirements. That's a very traditional approach to building traditional things like data warehouses. Go out there, be creative, think about how you can add value to the business, and then go and play. Right, so we're in a different cycle now. It's a cycle of being creative and innovative, and that is not about waiting for a requirement. It's about going and exploring. The other thing, of course, is you need to know your business. So understanding your business goals and ambitions, rather than knowing what you need to measure, you need to know what you want to change, right? Because insight is going to drive transformation, whether it be new products or services or new markets. So understanding your business trajectory, your strategy, is absolutely key. I think also people. So we're here at HPE Discover. There's a lot of technology, but we're also talking about people things too. So having the right people, having the right partner who's got the right people to help you navigate through this new environment, this new way of doing things, this new style of IT, or as I call it, the new style of analytics, is really important. So know your business, be brave, be bold, get the right people around you, get the right partner around you. And I think that's for me, is the very first thing you need to do. And if you get that right, that will stand you in really good stead for success.
So Martin, what's happening in respect of context-sensitive analytics?
The ability to provide insights and information at your fingertips when people are having conversations. So we're seeing a real uptake now of the concept of being able to produce analytics during a conversation, being able to access your corporate memory and perhaps even other digital artifacts from your partners, from suppliers, there and then. And so we're embedding these kind of analytic capabilities into collaboration tools. And we actually have a capability that does exactly that, where we've embedded, it's actually part of the idle engine, into Link, the collaboration tool, so that if we're having a conversation remotely from two very distant locations, and we're talking about something that may require us to surface a document, the in-context analytics will actually bring that document into view whilst we're having a conversation. We may not even have known that document existed, and it could be a voice recording, it could be an image, it could be a PDF. So that in-context thing is really bringing to life the collaboration space using big data. I think it's going to be a really big growing area actually as we go forward. So rather than passively receiving analytics, it's part of the dialogue. And of course, when you can do that in something like Link, you can connect the whole of your employee and workforce into the whole big data thing, and actually, really make use of the corporate memory.
HP, of course, deals in new technology. But what's happening in respect of analytics with respect to the new technologies? So perhaps holography or even haptics, what's around the corner?
We call it immersive analytics. So the ability for people to walk into the data, and you've seen the film Minority Report perhaps, right? The ability to actually manipulate data on a very large scale, visually and immersively, that's a really big growing space too. And again, it's about moving from receiving information on a report or a chart or a graph and actually walking into the data and being able to, in real time, look around that information, look around that data and discover new things. So we see that the human interaction with information and data and how people interact with the interfaces they're given to do that is going to be really important. That's almost like, if you like, big data 3.0 that's not quite here yet, but we're starting to pull pieces of this jigsaw together, and we actually have some solutions with clients right now where they're starting to do exactly that kind of thing. Immersive analytics.
Martin, tell me about analytics in respect of the Cape-to-Cape experience.
You can see the car over there, the Volkswagen. So a world record was broken. This is a great example of taking an escapade like this from driving from one end of the world to the other and using big data and analytics to really help, in this case Volkswagen, understand how a connected car could really be connected. So this converges many different technologies. So we're talking about sensor data from the vehicle itself, we're talking about sensor data from the drivers, which is the human dimension of the car, and bringing all that together so that they can understand how all these different moving parts interoperate. So it's a great example of taking big data from the social space and engaging fans and people who want to watch this and follow the drive, as well as the machine data, and converging all that together to tell a much richer story. It's about insights again. It's back to insights. How can we find out a lot more than we could have done if we didn't have the technology to bring all that information together? So it's a really good example, and of course the learnings from this will be taken into the automotive industry to enhance the kind of vehicles that you and I drive every day.
And do you see any of the learnings moving into other sectors?
Absolutely. So particularly a sector that I'm very close to in energy. That's a sector that spent a lot of time, a lot of effort putting sensors on oil rigs and refineries and various other large physical assets. It's not completely fair to say this, but that's largely been creating lots of data that not a great deal has happened with yet. So, there's the sensor data with the production data, with the financial data. It's about the convergence of the dots. The sensor data's created more dots, but they're only useful if you converge them with the other dots and join them together. That's when insight happens. So I'm on a bit of a mission myself personally to try and move that kind of learning into industries that are really making more data but not really making a great deal of use of it yet.
Martin, we've talked about analytics generally. What's happening in terms of analytics within HP? Okay,
so we're actually pretty good at this. I mean, we actually do, as they say, eat our own dog food. We use analytics extensively in our product development, particularly in the social space and understanding how people use our products. But also, of course, the investments that HP have made. And I was delighted when I came in here on the first day of Discover. The first thing I saw was big data. And a whole half a hall full of all the great things we've got. So, there's the first bit about our services, so BI modernisation and our hybrid data management capabilities, and how we're leveraging the technologies that we've invested in and built and developed further, particularly around Haven. So there's been a lot of talk about Haven at Discover this year, and that's really matured now into a full-blown, almost like ubiquitous data capability on which we can do all of these kind of analytics that we've just talked about. So I think we've got the full suite. So the good news for our customers is they no longer have to think about the technology. That's done, right? They can now be creative again. So for me, that's a great springboard for our services business to build on the back of. Let's move away from stitching bits of things together. HP's made those investments and we have those platforms. It's now about how can we make use of those. So the announcement around Haven as a service is a fantastic one. It turns big data into a use-based model rather than a build and an architect model. And I think that's really going to help our clients as we go forward.
Well, thank you, Martin.
Pleasure, thank you.